Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our second best of two of the night, starting a little bit earlier than scheduled. WPC is on the money. We've got Tongfu versus Orenda. Should be an interesting series because we've seen so little of Orenda so far. This is their first showing in WPCA's 2014, unless I'm mistaken. They may have played one series already, but I haven't cast them in the past few weeks of Chinese coverage that I've done. So it will be interesting. Tongfu, they've been struggling a bit. They've played a lot of matches, and they've lost the majority of them. So this is two of the lower-seeded teams, and should be a pretty interesting series. Let's hop right into this draft as it's well underway. Boy, these teams know what they want, and they are going to grab it up fast. So, initial bans, Invoker and the Lycanthrope banned out by Orenda, and Batrider Ancient Apparition by Tongfu. Nothing too surprising about it. It will be an Ember Spirit first pick for Tongfu. Orenda snatched themselves up the Centaur, grabbed the Mirana, and that leaves Tongfu with the Enchantress. Now, we actually saw Tongfu play Enchantress in Game 2 of that first Best of 2 series we saw against IG, and it didn't work out for him. It was an XBG Enchantress and just pretty low impact in general. He couldn't really effectively gank all that well. He did secure the first blood in lane, but other than that, he just kind of ran around and farmed and didn't really achieve a hell of a lot. There was a failed gank in the mid, and after that he lost most of his momentum. And just kind of an odd pick that didn't work out. I'll be interested to see how Tongfu use it here and if it works out a little bit better for him, and if they draft around it. The third and fourth bans have already been complete. Elder Titan Axe banned out by Orenda, and Lifestealer Shadow Demon banned out by Tongfu. We actually saw an Elder Titan earlier tonight. Did not work out so well, and I think for good reason. Elder Titan, he's just fallen off. Saw some of the flamethrowers coming out because I questioned the Elder Titan's lane presence, and that's one of his problems, man. His lane presence went down. Now that you can't scout with Astral Spirit so well, what does he do? He kind of gets last hits with it, but he's just this big old clunky dude that just gets killed. I'm not a big Elder Titan. I'm an Elder Titan hater. What can I say? He's just not his patch. Tongfu, they will third pick themselves the Wraith King, and Dazzle was the third pick from Orenda. I'm shocked at how quickly this draft is going by. Neither team too interested in using any bonus time here. Oh man. So Dazzle Viper picked up for Orenda. Their draft starting to come together a little bit. Probably a solo mid Viper, offlane Centaur, position 1 Mirana, and they'll just be looking for some sort of a stunner support for their fifth pick, probably something like a Rubik, something like that, to pair with the Dazzle. They need some kind of a disable here to set up for those arrows. Shadow Demon would have worked pretty nicely. That Shadow Demon Dazzle duo is scary, but smart choice from Tongfu to ban him out. Bane could be an option here. Pairs well with the Mirana, but we know how little these Eastern teams like to use the Bane Elemental. Now Tongfu, they grab Wraith King and Shadow Shaman. They get a little bit of additional pushing power with their second support, and this means that it will be a carry Wraith King. Support Shadow Shaman with Wraith King in the safe lane. Get your Enchantress there in the jungle. Probably an Ember Spirit mid. U9 Ember Spirit, I think. And that means Tongfu will have to pick up an offlaner here. Orenda ban out the Timbersaw, a hero that pairs very nicely against the Centaur. And here we'll see the hero matchup, Viper versus Ember Spirit. Yep, Viper kind of poops on him. And that's not too surprising. Not too many heroes can really beat Viper in the laning phase in a solo mid role. And Viper is one of the few heroes that really just beats on the Ember Spirit pretty effectively. Rubik will be the final ban from Tongfu. Whoops, let that one spill just a little early there. And there you go. Smart choice. I think that could have been something that Orenda were considering. Rubik works particularly well against the Shadow Shaman, stealing those Rasta wards. So a smart ban. We'll see what Orenda want to pick up. There are still some pretty decent supports in the pool. Anybody with a sure stun. A Vengeful Spirit could be something that they want to consider. Who else have we been seeing a lot of recently? It could also be a support Mirana. It sounds a little funky, but we've definitely seen it. Arcane Boots Mech. Using that Sacred Arrow to set up kills, it's definitely a possibility if they wanted to go more of like a carry kind of core here, and they may opt for that. You know, something like a Slark could work okay. Something like a Luna if they want to go that really greedy route. And of course, Tongfu will need an offlaner. I have to imagine Darkseer will be something that they'll consider. But Clockwork, he's in the pool once again. Hero that I'll never grow tired of seeing. Okay, there's your Slark, 5th pick. And we'll see what Tongfu want to do with their final choice here coming up in just a moment. Right away, they don't hesitate. It's the Darkseer. So they won't muck around with it, and we'll get straight into this game. Interesting drafts on both sides of the coin. Can hop into the game. We've got Tongfu on the Radiant side, and I'm not sure who has the better draft here. I want to say it's Orenda. It's a little bit more well-rounded, I think. They've got Centaur as that kind of mid-game tempo controller once he grabs the blink. They've got Viper, who should be able to do pretty well in the mid lane, and then this tri-lane is actually pretty darn scary. The support Mirana is something to keep an eye out for. You can just use that arrow as an initiation tool, and not the easiest setup in the top lane. They will have the Slark Pounce to maybe set things up, but a decent tri-lane coming out from Orenda. Tongfu just have kind of an all-over-the-place draft. They have a little bit more pushing power. I like the Darkseer, just kind of in general. I still have mixed feelings about the Wraith King. He's kind of weird. In some of these games, it seems like Wraith King gets a little bit of momentum and he balls out of control, and you think to yourself, damn, that Wraith King is scary. He hits level 16, he has an Aegis every 60 seconds, and it's kind of impossible to drain his mana. I mean, you can get a Nyx Assassin up, you can get a Lion, but once he gets to those higher levels, you just grab your magic wand, and it's really like Naga with a Diffusal counters him pretty well. But you just hold your wand charges, and once you get your magic wand up, upgrade that stick. You can always just pop it right before you die, and generally speaking, you'll have mana for Reincarnate. So he can get pretty potent as a position 1. He does take a little while to come online. Hand of Midas may be a possibility here, or a reality, perhaps I should say. But let's introduce our rosters. On the Radiant side, we've got Tongfu. It'll be XBG on the Enchantress once again. It'll be Q on the support Shadow Shaman. They'll be supporting the position 1 Wraith King, played by Sorry Fox here in the bottom lane. In the mid, it will be U9 on the Ember Spirit. He's got a couple of tangos pulled his way. And in the off lane, it will be MT on the Darkseer Ishkafel. And he'll have his work cut out for him. Now on the dire side, we've got Orenda. It will be Yim playing on the Centaur here in the off lane. In the mid, 290 on the Viper. And up top, Darkseer. Oh, we need some Dota sounds here, folks. We're about to see a first blood. Arrow will connect, and Darkseer, I think he may fall right here. No Surge, there's your first blood. And it'll be Dazzle who gets the bonus goat. He'll be played by Yi. ZYF playing on the Slark. And we'll have Leonly playing on the position 1 Mirana. So Orenda off to a good start here. This tri-lane, kind of an odd mismatch of heroes, but they make it happen. Darkseer, not always the easiest hero to lock down, but if you catch him at level 1 before he has that surge, certainly makes it a little bit easier. And they're on the money. Off to the races. In the mid lane, it looks like 290 actually struggling a little bit here on the Viper.
Close.
He will pick up a couple of last hits, but 3-2 versus the 3-1 Ember Spirit. Should expect this Viper to start to run away with it a little bit here. He will try and zone out the Ember, harassing him back, using that poison attack. But U9 will just grab some last hits here, grab his bottle, and he should be able to bottle Crow to safety. He did not go stats. He's just holding his points now. 2 points in Flame Guard, holding that third. Kind of interesting. Usually Sleight of Fist is what they go for straight away, but not surprised to see a Flame Guard build. Shockwave in the mid. Just harassing a little bit before this Satyr expires. I don't think he'll get another one off. Nope. Dies to the Wrath of Time. 2-minute rune. Scouted out by the Darkseer. And it will spawn down bottom. Centaur picks it up. It is a haste rune. Couldn't see what it was because his big body was blocking it. But Yim will just move into the Radiant jungle here. Perhaps looking for the Enchantress. Won't find it. Double Hellbearer Smashers here for XBG. And it's about time. I think he starts getting a little bit aggressive. With the Wraith King roster, they should be able to gank this bottom lane pretty easily, especially before Centaur hits 6 and gets that Stampede out. Centaur really is the master offlaner right now. He's just so darn good. So much burst damage, great initiation with the Blink, and the global presence with Stampede. You can use it for initiation, you can use it for defense. All around, just so solid right now. And if you notice from that first series, IG, they banned out Centaur in both games. Not a hero that they want to muck around with. He is just so hard to shut down to the offlane, even if you zone him out. It's so easy for him to find that recovery farm, and pretty rare to see a Centaur without a Blink Dagger before the 13-minute mark or so. 15 at the latest if he really struggles. We'll see XBG smoke up already. He'll get a little aggressive in this bottom lane. Centaur, Hellbear, they'll wake up Yim. There's this Thunderclap to get things started, but the follow-up just isn't there. Doesn't even go for the War Stomp. And just a little bit too far forward. Q and Sorry Fox, they just can't get in position to make this a kill, at least not yet. Creeps will move into the tower, and the Enchantress creeps will actually intercept the wave here. Ursa falls. They still have a stun available. They just won't have easy initiation onto this Centaur. And instead they'll have to settle to just pressure this tier 1 tower a little bit.
Dire's structures are fortified.
And they'll actually force out the glyph.
Dire's bottom
Wraith King,
tower
our last
is
hit
under
leader here,
attack.
22 and 5, now level 4. Still just racking up the last hits. I'm still curious if he's going to go hand to Midas. He did get the brown boots. I think he can get away with it this game. Orenda have a pretty solid mid-game lineup, but it will take a little while for that mid-game team to really come online. They'll need this Slark and Mirana to farm a little bit. And they'll need this Viper to get those core items up. Whether it's a mech, whether it's straight into Ag Scepter, whatever it is, Viper is going to need something before you can start moving around. So I think this Centaur could, or pardon me, this Wraith King could get away with it and still come online pretty early on. But no, he'll opt for fast power treads. Could still end up going Midas, but won't grab it first. Blink seems to be core on Wraith King these days, especially on a carry Wraith King. You need some kind of a gap closer. It's a game where there's an early Radiance or something that is particularly strong against Blink. Sometimes you'll see a Force Staff, but some kind of a gap closer, an absolute necessity. He needs to get up in your face to lay in those right clicks. Especially against an elusive Slark, the slow from Viper. Won't be an easy game for him to get up in your face and get those right clicks going on. Viper will commit to a mech first. Has the Buckler in the inventory already. No big surprise about that. Pretty standard item choice on the Viper. Ember Spirit. 1-1-3 at level 6. Picks up the ultimate. And doing okay in the mid lane. 12-1 against the 25-6 Viper. So 290 starting to run away with it, but about as we would expect. Ember still finding okay for him. At least he hasn't taken a spill yet. Could be a little bit worse in the mid lane. A disparity that is just not too surprising. Meanwhile, Tongfu, they will take out this bottom tier 1 tower. About the 520 mark. Right on schedule with this Enchantress. Brings in the Satyr Tormentor, and they'll continue on. They'll chip at this tier 2. They know the glyph is down. And just not much that the Centaur can do about it. I think right now Tongfu trying to force out some ports of Orenda, waste some time of their carries / supports. Mirana will rotate over. Only level 3. Level 2 Sacred Arrow flies in. Will connect onto the Shadow Shaman. Follow-up coming from the Centaur. He'll get stunned up, but still plenty of damage to finish off the Shadow Shaman. Centaur secures that kill. Wraith King now takes a stun. He's only level 5, so no reincarnation. Sacred Arrow up in 2. They'll continue to pursue. Leap forward from the Mirana.
Yes.
Arrow on the mark. Yes, says the Mirana. And they secure the kill on the Wraith King. Nicely done by Orenda. They pick up 2 kills, and they defend their tier 2 tower. Couldn't have hoped for more. They only pull 1 TP rotation, and that is the Dazzle, so they create a little bit of space for Slark to farm in the top lane. And they clean it up. Centaur gets 1 of the kills, Mirana gets the other. Good news all around. Yim finds a little bit of recovery farm. Tranquil boots up, and now with 700 gold, he's well on his way to the Blink Dagger. About a third of the gold he'll need until he picks that up. Meanwhile, the man Viper, more than halfway, or actually just about halfway to that recipe for the mech, has the first 2 pieces. U9, he's just been bottle crowing, still sitting on brown boots, just desperately trying to find farm. And Flame Guard giving him a little bit of lane control. We'll connect with some Searing Chains there. But he really needs some help. I think supports need to rotate in. They need to slow down this Viper before he gets out of control. He's now the last hit leader on par with the Wraith King. In the jungle, smoke from Mirana as well as the Centaur. They're looking for the Enchantress. They'll find him, but can't find the opening they're looking for. No blink on the Centaur. Won't make it easy. And a support build for Mirana for sure here. No Starstorm at level 4. 0-2-2. 2 points in the Sacred Arrow, 2 points in the leap. A little bit more mobility. And Wraith King still just farming away. No Midas for him. Darkseer in some trouble up in the top lane. He'll try and TP out, but I don't think this will be successful. They don't even need the Poison Touch. Dazzle will just right-click him down. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Wraith King, he'll get initiated upon, is now level 6, has the ultimate available. He's trying to turn on this Centaur, and he's doing a lot of damage. He'll have a Wraithfire Blast up in 1 second, but then he won't have enough mana to ult. Oh, actually, yes, he will. I can't do math here. Centaur, will he die to the dot? Yes, he will. That's a kill. That's a 1-0, and he'll just pop back up, heads back. He had plenty of mana. So I worry he does not do math well at 5 a.m. Yeah, especially without coffee. Well played by Sorry Fox right there, though. Showing us the power of the Wraith King. He'll just initiate onto Lee only. Oh, a lot of burst damage coming out from the Rasta as well. They secure the kill on the support Mirana. Nicely done by Tongfu. They get their first 2 kills on the board. And now they'll pressure this bottom tier 2 tower. I don't think they'll have enough to finish it off. Glyph coming up in just about 20 seconds, but still 2 nice kills coming out. Rasta showing us what his burst damage is all about. He is level 6. That's 3 points in the other shock. 260 damage. Ouch, does that sting. Now, sorry, Fox. He's overstayed his welcome. Viper rotates down. Viper Strike comes out. Double edge, and Dazzle gets credit for that last hit. That'll make it 5-2. Orenda clean it up. And at least find a positive there. They repel the forces of Tongfu and maintain their lead. Goldgraph in the favor of Tongfu only because they have the tower edge. 1-0 to get things started out of the gate. This Rasta, he's found a lot of experience. Arrow in the mid. Actually will connect onto U9. That's a 4-second stun. Follow-up won't be there. Q throws down the wards to try and zone them out. There's an Enchantress Hellbear inbound as well. Wards will just get right-clicked down. About half of them have fallen already. Still good use of them. Does some damage to the tower and keeps the Ember Spirit safe. Worth it if that was the difference between Ember Spirit living or dying. Arrow once again. This time it'll be off the mark, but a little bit close for comfort as U9 stutters around. Just on Brown Boots and Bracer, this Ember Spirit is pretty darn squishy right now. Is level 8, grabs another point in that Sleight of Fist, but still working to come online. Viper really did an effective job shutting him down here in the mid lane. Goldgraph zeroed out and Orenda with about 1,000 experience lead. Slark's been pretty quiet, but he's just been farming away up in this top lane. What's he got on the courier? That's a Shadow Amulet. So he'll have a decently timed Shadow Blade. Power Treads up first, and just straight into it. XBG, he's been pretty quiet on this Enchantress as well. 0-0-0. 10 minutes in, still has not made much in the way of movement. In the mid lane, oh, Arrow connects onto U9. Viper Strike comes out, and now this Ember Spirit is in big trouble. They'll secure that kill. Dominating streak for the Dazzle, 4-0-2. Boy, this is his game. Level 7. 2-1-4. No ultimate quite yet. Kind of an interesting build from the Dazzle, but grabbing that extra point in Poison Touch now for a bit more of aggression. And just going to Shadow Wave primary. It's worked well for him so far. Already has the Arcane Boots up. I'm not really sure who's playing the position 5 versus position 4 here between the Dazzle and the Mirana, but it seems that the Dazzle is getting the better of it. And I'd like to see him maybe be the mech carrier this game, unless Centaur is going to pick it up. No, oh yeah, Viper has it already. Derp. We'll hold that thought though as a 5-second arrow connects onto the Shadow Shaman. Stampede forward, Poison Touch from the Dazzle. They'll secure that kill before he can do anything about it. Viper now, he gets hexed up. Moonlight Shadow comes, but it won't be enough to keep him alive. Centaur, double-edge hoof stomp. Will be forced to retreat. Moonlight Shadow should be enough to keep him alive. Hopefully. 2/3 of the way there to the Blink Dagger. He'll take an odd path through the trees. Yeah, they know he gets pinged out. And it's that Ember Spirit. I think that scattered him out. They'll throw another Fire Remnant up, and now he'll get caught inside the Searing Chains. Yeah, Yim will pay for this. No way he's surviving at this point. Searing Chains plus Ion Shell, just or pardon me, Flame Guard plus Ion Shell, just a little too much, though. He didn't even use the Flame Guard there. Still an easy kill coming out.
Bottom
tower does get denied by the Slark, but still a tier 2 tower down at the 12-minute mark. Not too bad. Tongfu will take it. TP into the mid lane. It is Viper. He's got the mech complete, as I was mentioning before that team fight broke out. Viper taking pretty hefty damage. The mech will buy him some time. Now U9 trying to retreat. He doesn't have the mana for a Fire Remnant. But 290, he'll overcommit for it. Now he gets vacuumed back. Glyph, pardon me, that's not a glyph. That's a Shallow Grave from the Dazzle. Arrow flies in between the heroes. Surge will come out on the Wraith King. That buys him some time. And no kills will come in the mid lane. Between the Surge and the Shallow Grave, the two primary targets do make it back to safety. Oh, Dazzle. Now he takes a Wraithfire Blast. He does not have a Shallow Grave here. Plenty of damage. Enchantress finishes him off with one last impetus. Wraith King, he'll get picked off, but he has the ultimate. That comes back up, sets up for a kill onto the Viper. Negative Urn as well as the Wraithfire Blast. Too much damage for him. 290 takes a spill. Lee only. Trying to do some damage. Now he takes a Wraithfire Blast. Fire Remnant forward. They'll have the damage to finish him off. That's Enchantress picking up another kill. Double kill for XBG, and all the while, Shadow Shaman, he finishes off the top tier 1 tower with Rasta wards. So Tongfu, look at this, regaining the momentum in this game. Now all of a sudden a 3,000 gold lead, 2,000 experience. And Orenda, they don't look pleased. Didn't cut to the camera feed fast enough, but very serious looks on their faces here as Tongfu start to grab momentum here. Tower in the mid, actually finished off by U9, and they'll just get a free kill onto the Slark. Easy peasy. He gets obliterated before he can even ultimate. There was a Sentry Ward down, and it looks like he just wasn't ready for it. So Tongfu, they get back-to-back tower kills, plenty of hero kills as well. Goldgraph even further in their favor now, upwards of about 5,000 experience to boot. Wraith King, the leading farmer of net worth, about 1,200 up on the Slark, the leading farmer of the dire side. He will go straight into an armlet, and does have it up now. Whoops, still too slow on the camera cut. Up in the top lane, Moonlight Shadow flies, Yim, hoof stomp in 1 second. They're looking for this Darkseer. He'll have a Surge, and I think he'll make it out. No, the cast time will result in a Hoof Stomp. It'll be on the mark anyway. Follow-up damage, will it be there? Orenda are inbound. Start attacking onto the Wraith King. Nice vacuum into wall. They get the kill on the Centaur. But now what can they do? Ion Shell, Flame Guard doing a lot of damage, trying to turn it around onto the Dazzle. Support is inbound now. Wraithfire Blast on the Mirana. Nice disjoint. Now Slark joining the party. He connects onto the Darkseer, secures that kill. That'll be the end of the dominating streak. Orenda in some trouble here. They'll lose their Viper. Ember Spirit finishes off the Dazzle. And they'll also clean it up onto the Mirana. Only one left. It's the Slark. He's out of mana, low on hit points. But they won't have vision. They won't pursue, and he survives. Still, Tongfu, a 1 for 4. Looked like it was going to be a messy engage at first, with Orenda having 4 rotating up top. Actually, it was a 5-man rotation when it was all said and done. But huge support from Tongfu. They TP'd to this top tier 1 tower. They turned it around. And they made it happen, Captain. Now Tongfu will start to press forward, but I don't think they'll commit much to this tier 2 tower. Rasta wards are on cooldown. He had to burn them for that fight, so they won't be able to transition it into an easy push. But they will transition it into an easy Centaur kill. Holy Toledo. I saw them engage on him, but I thought Centaur was going to, you know, recognize there were 2 heroes there and not run into the tower by himself. Sorry, that's my bad, folks. Got the tail end of it, but that was just completely avoidable. Centaur completely underestimating the amount of damage Wraith King and Ember Spirit can put out. And apparently I overestimated Centaur's game sense. I just thought he would, you know, play that one a little more passive. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, XPG, he gets initiated upon and completely destroyed. Slark catches him with a pounce, and she brings out the Nature's Attendants, but plenty of damage to secure that kill. Now a Blink Dagger is up on Q's Shadow Shaman, so more initiation power for Tongfu will make Renda's life a bit more difficult. And Wraith King, he is 1 creep kill away from having a Blink Dagger of his own, and I imagine that's what he's pulling up his gold for. Meanwhile, up top, U9, he'll just dive that tower, grabs a kill on Mirana, then just scoots back to a Fire Remnant. Support comes in, wastes a couple of TPs from Orenda, but they just can't lock him down. And that's U9's bread and butter on his Ember Spirit right there. He is one of the most elusive Ember Spirit players I've seen. He's so good at keeping a Fire Remnant down, thinking to himself, where will I be next? And it seems like he always has a Fire Remnant to escape to. Unless you catch him completely without mana, or like smoke up and catch him farming this camp or something. He pretty much always has a Fire Remnant down. Tongfu now pressing up the mid lane. Blink Dagger's online. And the Blink Bros, they'll be successful in finding a kill on the Viper. Vacuum to pull him into an even worse position. And great use of the ward. Secures the kill and does a little chip damage to this tier 2 tower. Creep wave will be coming in, but the towers will get, the wards will get pretty much cleaned up. They'll serve as effective bait on the Mirana, though. Back-to-back crits coming out for Sorry Fox, and they get a Hex onto the Dazzle. Orenda just falling to pieces now. An easy 3-for-0 in the mid lane. They'll be able to transition this into an easy tower kill as well. Easy is the name of the game for Tongfu. They're just picking Orenda apart. The Blink Daggers are too much. They just weren't ready for it. Dazzle didn't even get a grave off there. He just got destroyed. Now the tower falls. And this gold graph way in their favor. 10,000 gold and experience going to Tongfu. And now that the Blink Daggers are up, what can Orenda do? They'll have a glyph, but their tier 3 starts taking some chip damage. A lot hinging on the back of this Slark right now. And all he has is a Shadow Blade. Here we go. Initiation, Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains forward. But the mech comes out from the Viper. Centaur hops in, but he gets hexed up right away. Doesn't get the double edge off. Now he'll get stuck inside Shackles, completely disabled. Wraith King taking a lot of damage, has the ultimate available. Grave comes out on Viper, that keeps him alive, but U9 in the front lines. Flame Guard just doing too much damage. Viper dies as soon as the Grave expires. Yi, he'll go down to 1 more Sleight of Fist. And nope, it'll be Bolas that finish him off, but it doesn't matter. They just get completely cleaned up. Meanwhile, Mirana takes a Wraithfire Blast. It will be a 1-for-4 in the Radiant base, and it's about to be a 1-for-5. Slark caught in the Searing Chains, and this is going to be a GG, I think. A pause instead, but Orenda in shambles. Maybe just a misclick there. We'll resume straight away. The BM pause coming out. But they still have their glyph. That will buy them a little bit of time, but they get completely cleaned up, and that is in their base, too. That's with Defender's high ground advantage. And a tier 3 tower. Woo! They just get destroyed. Glyph finally comes out. Their racks may hold. I mean, we're only 18 minutes in. The respawn timers are pretty darn short for Orenda. So they'll come up with plenty of time to keep their racks alive. The tower will actually hold as well. Arrow. Off the mark. So Orenda, they've got 1 chance left. They've probably got 1 good team fight left in them. But 15,000 golden experience at the 18-minute mark. We're getting close to that 1K XP gold per minute lead, and that is always scary. That tends to be the insurmountable margin that most teams struggle to come back from. It'll be Necro Book coming out on the Darkseer. Blinks are already on the field. Tongfu's Shadow Shaman. He'll just work towards a BKB. There's a Necro Book complete on the Darkseer, and Ember Spirit, well, he's just almost out of Battle Fury. Has the Claymore, just waiting for that 1200 piece and about 800 off the mark. On the Dire side of things, item progression is pretty sparse. Viper's had that mech for a while, but hasn't really grabbed much else since then. Completed his power treads, but that's about it. Slark, same story, different chapter. Had an early Shadow Blade, but just sitting on 1,000 gold, unable to really progress past it. And there's that Blink Dagger on the Centaur. He did grab it eventually. A little bit delayed, but has yet to find anything else following that Blink Dagger. Now, Wraith King will probably move into Mjolnir. Seems to be the item of choice on Wraith Kings, but since Tongfu seemed hell-bent on breaking the base, he may just pick up an Assault Cuirass. Doesn't really matter. I think it's doubtful that he finishes whatever item it'll be before this game ends. No Glyph available, and Orenda not really in a great position to defend. They'll be grouped up outside of the base. And they watch their tier 3 tower die. No Glyph. Moonlight Shadow to initiate. There is a sentry down for the Radiant. Stampede from the Centaur. And Slark kind of just leaps over the battle, but they don't really use the Stampede for initiation. Centaur finally hops in, connects with 3 on the Hoof Stomp, but he takes a lot of damage in return. Caught in the bolas, he will be the first to go down. Rest of the fight breaks out around the barracks. Viper, he gets crowd controlled, pops the mech, but still falls. Now ultimate from the Slark comes out. Sleight of Fist, the bowl is actually off the mark. Would have been enough to secure the kill onto the Slark there, but he leaps back to safety. Dazzle survives to the grave, but and ultimately gets picked off. Mid-rank Spawn and Orenda, they've had enough. They GG tap out 25-10 after only 25 minutes of gameplay. Tongfu, they make it look easy. It was an even game for quite a while, but Orenda, they can't take the heat, so they get out of the kitchen. And I think not a moment too soon. And there's the Orenda boys, all smiles. Oh, that's the Tongfu boys, pardon me. The Orenda boys were looking a little sad. There they are. But that's alright. Taking a loss to Tongfu, yeah, a little bit rough. That Viper, he did so well in lane. He dominated that Ember Spirit. But the other lanes kind of got worked and didn't have enough to make up for it. Looking at the post-game stats here, 0, 6, and 6 on the Viper, 1, 6, and 4 on the Centaur. 2 key heroes that just didn't have a big enough impact. And again, the use of the Slark. He got the Shadow Blade, but then in the mid-game, there was just no space creation. That's part of the problem with Viper. Yeah, you can shut down the Ember Spirit, but doesn't have that same level of tempo control like a Quaswex Invoker, like a Puck, or even a Storm Spirit. Now the question is MVP. I think they'll give it to the Ember Spirit, U9. He played a good game, 6-1 and 12. He was involved in the most kills by 1 over the Darkseer. Had the best KDA as well. But we'll see. That wraps up our third of 4 games tonight, guys, for WPC coverage. We'll have 1 game coming up next. It will be Tongfu versus Orenda, the second match in this best-of-2 series. And again, we'll see if Tongfu can take it out 2-0 or if Orenda can bring it back and make it a 1-1 series. Still waiting on that MVP, but it hasn't popped up yet. Hopefully it does soon, because that about wraps up our post-analysis for this last game here. And here you go. It is Sorry Fox on the Wraith King. Interesting. Very interesting. 6-2 and 10. He did have a good game. The highest GPM as well at 531 in only 20 minutes. Not too shabby. So there you go. He'll find himself a little bit of extra money IRL. But we'll be back after this short break, guys. Last match of the night coming up. Orenda versus Tongfu.